10 trucks that refuse to die. What if your truck hit 200,000 miles, then 300,000, then 400,000, and simply refused to quit? Somewhere out there, a truck like that is still running right now. Overloaded, overworked, decades old, and still starting every single morning. Today we're counting down 10 trucks that earned a reputation for refusing to die. And by the end, you'll understand exactly why one of them didn't just earn a reputation. It earned the trust of people who couldn't afford to be wrong. Let's start with the truck that proved simple beats fancy. Nissan Hardbody D21. Before pickups were loaded with screens and sensors, the Nissan Hardbody ran on something better: simplicity. Fewer electronics meant fewer things to fail, and its no-nonsense drivetrain made repairs something a home garage could handle. Farmers and contractors didn't buy it to impress anyone. They bought it because it worked. Some are still working decades later. Its one real weakness: rust. Road salt could eat through a hardbody's frame long before the engine ever gave up. But that was only the beginning. Ford Ranger. The Ford Ranger proved you don't need a big V8 to build something that lasts. Its smaller engines weren't built to impress on paper. They were built to survive daily grinding. And many Rangers have piled on serious mileage with nothing more than routine care. That made it the truck of choice for small businesses and first-time owners who needed something cheap to keep alive. When something eventually broke, fixing it rarely cost a fortune. Interior parts and electronics aged faster than the drivetrain, but the bones underneath kept going. And the next truck took durability even further. Toyota Tacoma. The Toyota Tacoma built its legend the slow way. Generation after generation of durability, off-road toughness, and owners who refused to let go. Well-maintained examples have been documented reaching remarkably high mileage. And here's the strange part. Used Tacomas often hold their value better than almost anything else on the road. Age usually kills resale value. With the Tacoma, it somehow adds to the myth. It wasn't flawless. Certain early frames suffered serious corrosion, serious enough that Toyota launched a major repair program to fix it. But if you think that was tough, wait until you see what came next. Or Flit Silverado / GMC Sierra GMT 800. The GMT 800 era Silverado and Sierra became staples of American farms and job sites for one simple reason. When something broke, fixing it made sense. Their small block V8s had been refined for decades, and the entire truck was built around the idea that repair beats replacement. Transmissions eventually needed rebuilding. Rust could attack the body, but the core underneath kept turning over, year after year. And now we're entering diesel territory, where the reputations get serious. Ford F-Series with 7.3 power stroke. The 7.3-liter power stroke didn't become legendary because it was flawless. It became legendary because it was nearly unkillable. Found in Ford's heavy-duty trucks through the late 90s and early 2000s, it built a reputation for surviving towing, hauling, and commercial abuse that would break lesser engines, sometimes reaching extraordinary mileage in the process. Everything around that engine aged the way you'd expect after 2 decades of hard work. But owners weren't chasing perfection. They were fixing what broke and putting the truck back on the job. And if you've ever owned an old truck you simply refuse to give up on, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, because the trucks coming up aren't just old, they're legends. Dodge Ram with Cummins diesel. Ask any diesel mechanic to name an engine built for the long haul, and Cummins comes up almost immediately. The inline-6 inside the Dodge Ram became famous for torque and toughness that outlasted entire truck bodies built around it. Here's the twist. The engine could be nearly indestructible, while everything else wasn't. Transmissions needed rebuilding, bodies rusted. But when the engine in front of you still has that much life left, rebuilding around it just makes sense. Now we're moving to a truck that proved reliability isn't just a diesel thing. Toyota Tundra. Toyota wanted to prove it could compete in America's full-sized market. The Tundra earned something more valuable than headlines: trust. Its V8s became known for smooth power and long-term durability, and some examples have racked up extreme mileage in commercial fleets, where trucks idle, tow, and grind through the day far harder than anything in your driveway. Its weakness was frame corrosion on certain generations, serious enough that Toyota stepped in with buybacks and replacements. Even then, the mechanical reputation survived intact. But the next truck's reputation doesn't just live in America. It lives on every continent. Toyota Hilux. The Toyota Hilux barely needs an introduction. In much of the world, its name is shorthand for indestructible. Deserts, mountains, war zones, construction sites, places where a broken vehicle doesn't mean a bad day, it means a lost job, or worse. The formula was brutally simple. Strong chassis, proven drivetrain, and a design built to be fixed almost anywhere, with almost anything. Its legend grew further when a British television show spent years torturing heavily modified Hilux pickups with fire, floodwater, and a wrecking ball. And the trucks kept starting. Not every stock Hilux off the lot could survive that, but the point had already been made. As legendary as the Hilux became, another Toyota was built for an even more unforgiving job. Mioyevs. The F-150. The Ford F-150 doesn't owe its reputation to one magic engine. It owes it to numbers. Decades of being America's best-selling truck built an entire ecosystem around it. Parts on every corner, mechanics who could rebuild one blindfolded, and endless owner knowledge passed down for generations. When millions of trucks are on the road that long, some are always going to rack up genuinely staggering mileage, but reliability swings hard depending on the generation and the engine under the hood. This isn't one perfect truck. It's an entire family that keeps proving it can survive the real world. But number one isn't here because it's America's best-selling truck. It isn't here because it's the most powerful. It's here because in some of the harshest places on Earth, people have trusted it when failure simply wasn't an option. Toyota Land Cruiser 70 series. Imagine you're hundreds of miles from the nearest city. The road is barely a road. The heat is brutal. And if your vehicle stops here, there's no dealership around the corner. There might not be a mechanic for a full day's drive. This is the environment where the Land Cruiser 70 series earned its reputation. For decades, this truck has worked mining sites, remote farms, humanitarian missions, and military operations across some of the most punishing terrain on the planet. Its body-on-frame construction and heavy-duty suspension weren't built to impress a showroom. They were built to survive conditions most vehicles never have to face. Its diesel engines earned a reputation for absorbing punishment that would sideline more complicated trucks, and its mechanical simplicity means it can often be repaired with basic tools far from any dealership. That's exactly why aid organizations, mining companies, and workers in the world's most remote regions keep choosing it, generation after generation instead of something newer and more advanced. None of that means every 70 series runs forever on its own. Like every truck on this list, its survival still depends on maintenance, usage, and how it's driven over the years. But few vehicles have earned this level of trust in the places where trust matters most. So there you have them, 10 trucks that refuse to die. From the humble hardbody to the Land Cruiser 70 series, these trucks prove something important. The best truck isn't the one with the biggest screen or the highest price tag. It's the one that keeps starting when everything around it has already given up. Now I want to hear from you. Which truck do you think is the most indestructible pickup ever built? Did your favorite make the list, or did we leave one out that deserves to be here? Drop your answer in the comments. If you enjoyed this countdown, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell, because more legendary trucks are coming. Horsepower gets attention. Luxury gets people talking, but longevity creates legends, and some trucks just refuse to die.